How are you? Bringing up my desktop. Yes, I know. I should have all this done before I come on, but it is what it is, guys. Hey, Sniper. Thank you so much for your post. I'm just there now. All right, who do we got here? Hey, Brian. Hey, Miss Flipper. Sniper says more than welcome. It is much appreciated. All right, let's go to the big Google machine. And one of my favorite mystics, Saint Teresa of Avila. This can be, we're going to talk about passage meditation, different form of meditation that many people might resonate with. Passage meditation is taking a spiritual passage that has stood the test of time. We don't want to write one ourselves, not that it might not be good or true or excellent, but we want something that has been repeated over time, over centuries, over a millennium or so, that has that power given to it through endless repetition. And what we do is we sit, our meditation posture, relax, let everything go. Shoulders relax, jaws relax, temples relax, our eyes are closed, we're turning inwards. We let the breath go. We let the breath go. Just breathe on its own. We don't have to do anything to breathe. Breathing happens. It is a grace-inspired gift from God. So we follow the breath and we let the breath go. And then we enter give me 1 second, the spiritual passage that we're going to use. It could be a passage from the Bible. We want it to be of medium length. It could be a passage from any spiritual text, the Bhagavad Gita, Dhammapada from Buddhism, one of the Upanishads, whatever it could be from Judaism, whatever. And there you can find a selection. Brian is listening. I learned this in the late 1980s, and it was a practice that I did for quite some time before I came upon primordial sound meditation, of which I started and then became a teacher for. But I always return to this. Hey, Tandra. As it's just a beautiful method. And as Eknath Swarn, the one who I learned this from, has said, you become what you meditate on. You become what you contemplate on. So our meditation, carefully choosing words that literally change our perception of the world. Brian says, is there a time in your meditation when you firstly put more air in your body? During meditation, there's no need, but you can do pranayama. You can do your breath work before you meditate, which really helps supercharge your meditation as it enters. It brings in prana, the energy of the universe itself. Or you could do it afterwards. I do mine right before. So Ignatius Warren recommends, he's the one who really brought forth passage meditation, gave it the name passage meditation. It's also can be called contemplative prayer. He recommends starting with the prayer of St. Francis. And what a beautiful prayer. I'm going to read it now. Hey, Tandra, how's the watch hours? So here's the prayer of St. Francis. Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, it is in dying to self that we are born to eternal life. So here's what we want to consider, guys. One, every word is dropped like a pebble into a still pool of water, into a small pond, so that it ripples outwards. It ripples throughout our consciousness into the consciousness of life itself, the universal consciousness, the one consciousness. So we take it at a very slow pace, but we don't want to take it so slow that each word loses meaning. We learn to string it together at just the right time. So it would be along the lines, but adopt it to your own pace. Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. You see the point? It doesn't have to be super slow. But what you do is you enter each word into your consciousness, letting it drop within so that it becomes part of you. And what you'll find, to use our friend Squirrel Sniper's favorite expression, you become, or to paraphrase, a meditative alchemist. Those words literally transform who you are. You're soaking yourself in Godness so that all you have to give away in your everyday life is God. Brian says, let me dive back in the chat real quick. Excuse me, guys. Sniper says, Grand Risings, everyone. Chandra is at 1742. That is so awesome. But you got that email from, or the message from YouTube saying 2000, right? Brian says, that word primordial has come into my life several times, and now again with you, it seems to revolve in my life. Primordial is the essence of who we are. Primordial. We come from God. We are extensions from God. We are the primordial essence of God. Or God is the primordial essence of us. Miss Ripper says, my favorite St. Francis legend is when he stripped buck naked in front of the Pope at the time. I hadn't heard that. Brian says, I grew up in a massive church called St. Francis de Sales. Nice. It was when I became baptized as a child. Tom just says, yeah, but they never match. As long as they are both expanding, that's what counts. Brian says, he is my favorite saint. De Sales is different than St. Francis. We can look that up in a minute. Francis of de Sales, different time frame, about 200 years after St. Francis. He was a Savoyard Catholic prelate who served as Bishop of Geneva, saint of the Catholic Church. He became noted for his deep faith and his gentle approach to the religious division in his land resulting from Protestant Reformation. St. Francis was more of a, St. Francis was a drunkard and a warrior, served in the army. He had his own little transformation, and his love of animals, his love of spirit. Remember brother moon, sister sun? Nope. Brother sun, sister moon. St. Francis of Assisi is my favorite saint. I think mine too, although I have a fondness for St. John of the Cross and St. Teresa of Avila, which I'm going to read in a little bit. So another thing here, when we are saying the prayer of St. Francis, when it says, "Oh, divine master," we are not pleading to something that is outside of us. The divine master, the God essence, resides within us. We are asking for spiritual transformation. We are asking for a transcendent moment of the ego, where we see through it. We see through the illusion of ego and return to pure spirit. So we're saying, "Oh, divine master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love, for it is in giving that we receive, as in pardoning, forgiving, that we are pardoned." What a great line that could be straight out of the Course in Miracles. It is in forgiving that we are forgiven. God doesn't forgive because there is no need for God to forgive. God sees only truth. God sees only love. God can only see what God is, and God is everything. Everything that is not God is an illusion. Our role is to see through the illusion. And it's a tough role as long as we relate to the ego, as long as we believe that we are small, separate individuals and not joined in the union of God. When we see through that, forgiveness is easy and it's natural. And it's also not necessary because we're seeing through the eyes of God. This is what the great Christian mystic, Meister Eckhart, meant when he said, "The eye in which I see God is the same eye in which God sees me." The higher uppers did not like that. The church did not like that, because mysticism, being a mystic, means your own unique experience of God that does not need clergy, a hierarchy of clergy, to tell you how to see God. You know how to see God because you're seeing with your heart, and you are extending that outwards. It's the gift of vision that you are giving others. If I see you only as spirit, then only spirit exists. All right, where are we in the chat? And then I'm going to read the prayer of St. Francis. It's the true prayer of independence. Man, Brian, you nailed it. You said it perfectly. He was a wild, singing woodland man. Yes, I can see why he's your favorite. I can see why he's your favorite saint. He's your kindred spirit. He's your kindred saint. Miss Pippa says, "I celebrated Christmas 2023 in Assisi." Nice. You ever read any Wayne Dyer, Miss Flipper? His book, "There's a Spiritual Solution to Every Problem." This is why I love Wayne Dyer. When he wrote Your Erroneous Zones back in the 70s, and then his other books proceeding up into the 80s, he was very prominent on the cover. Chest up, chin out, looking out for #1 type of book. Not bad. Where he was in his life, where he was teaching. As he began to see past and through the ego, as he embraced his own innate mysticism, he began to let that go. And when he finally wrote, "There's a spiritual solution to every problem," he was on his knees, his head bowed, at Assisi's, welcoming spirit. Man, I'm going to be thinking this all day. He was a wild, singing woodland man. Man, Brian, that describes you perfectly as well. Brian says, "Well, Miss Blip." Brian says, "Oh, I would love to go. Oh, how much I would love to go." Hey, Brian, You carry a sissy within your heart. Everywhere you step is a sissy. Miss Pippa says he was a huge walker and traveled on foot to abbey monasteries all over. He stripped in front of the Pope because he wanted recognition for his brotherhood. Beautiful. Hey, the author of, and I can never pronounce his name because it's Greek, Nicholas, he wrote not Fiddler on the Roof, he wrote Zorba the Greek. He wrote a wonderful biography. It's beautiful, of St. Francis. Perhaps the most beautiful. Yeah, I love St. Francis. Guys, you're going to have me dig out my books that I have on St. Francis. Put the books I'm reading aside now. Brian says I have an incredible book that tells his story. What's the book? His spirit is pure, beautiful love. Yeah, but his life became devotion. He was devoted to God. Oh, you know what? I'm going to read one of my all-time. Brian says, man, you helped me smile early. Thank you, Brother Eric. Thank you. Chris Flipper has read Dyer. And his order takes a vow of poverty and will. But at the time couldn't handle that. Absolutely. All right, I'm going to put St. Teresa aside for just a moment. Here it goes, guys. I think my all-time favorite poem. Galway Kinnell. You guys heard me read this before. If you've been hanging out with me for a while, you will hear me read it again if you hang out with me longer. Bear with me, guys. Are you ready? Brian says, oh, I read that. It's a beautiful poem. It's entitled St. Francis and the Sow. The bud stands for all things, even for those things that don't flower. For everything flowers from within of self-blessing, though sometimes it is necessary to reteach a thing its loveliness. To put the hand on the brow of the flower and retell it in words and in touch, it is lovely, until it flowers again from within of self-blessing. As St. Francis put his head on the creased forehead of the sow and told her in words and in touch blessings of earth on the sow, and the sow began to remember all down her thick length from the earthen snout all the way through her fodder and the slop of her spiritual curl of the tail, from the hard spininess as spiked out from the spine down through the greater broken heart, to the sheer blue milk and dreaminess, spurting and shuddering from the 14 teats into the 14 mouth, sucking and blowing beneath them, the long, perfect loveliness of sow. How beautiful is that? Here's the line that floors me every time. For everything flowers from within of self-blessings, though sometimes it is necessary to reteach a thing its loveliness. That's our role in life. That's what we should do every single day. Reteach ourselves, reteach others their loveliness. Can you reteach one person, one flower, one tree, one flake of snow, one blade of grass, its loveliness? Can you just look at something? Don't even have to say it out loud and just say, you are lovely, you are lovely, you are lovely. How is that for living a life of devotion? Give me 1 second, guys. Somewhere in some book, and I don't know which one, but maybe we can find it. I have my own poem that I wrote of St. Francis. I'll tell you my favorite as I look it up. See if I can find it. Maybe I'll read it later, because I don't know if I'll be able to find it. Nope. There we go. I got it, guys. This was a post. I wrote this. I wrote it a long time ago, and it's based upon a story that I've read of Saint Francis. Hey, Cat and Jack. I'll read it in a second. Let me dive back in the chat. Francis and the Journey and the Dream. Nice. Maury Bodie. I will look for that. Bodell. Got you. Good morning to you, Cat. Miss Pippa says he was good buddies with Santa Cheria. Yep, St. Clair. So I wrote this before 2013. I think I wrote this in 2008, but I posted it on my blog in 2013. And the story is that Saint Francis, Thich Nhat Hanh, the Vietnamese Zen master, told the story of Saint Francis saying to an almond tree, in the depth of winter, speak to me of God. And the almond tree blossomed. The almond tree blossomed. Speak to me of God, and the almond tree blossomed in that very moment. So I wrote this. Again, I think I wrote it in 2008. I posted it on my blog in 2013. As the almond tree touched by the breath of St. Francis, I lie in your embrace. Speak to me of God, he whispered to the tree. The tree spoke in flowers that blossomed in the barren scape of winter. Speak to me of God, your fingers whisper as the breath of St. Francis. And in the depth of winter, that parts only to your touch, I do. Then I wrote this tiny little essay. When St. Francis came upon a barren almond tree in the depth of winter, he paused before it and asked the poor tree to speak of him of God. And touched by breath and words and something still more, the tree blossomed and showered the earth in the warmth of its eternal spring. Always renewed, reborn in a sense of wonder, the language of God. Today, tomorrow, speak to me of God. Peace. Eric. That was me. And then I'll read later today in my next live stream. I wrote another essay, 2012. This is why I highly recommend, if you do the passage meditation, if this resonates you more, the prayer of St. Francis, because it manifests as the conditions of our life. So that is passage meditation. If anyone wants to practice it, reach out, send me a message on Facebook, and I will help everyone. Kat says, good morning. Miss Pippa says he was good for that. Brian says, Kat and Jack, hello. Brian says, you know, one of Francis ever had children that got married? I don't believe he did, although his relationship with St. Clair was closer than a marriage could possibly be. It was of kindredness. Is kindredness an actual word? Miss Pippa says, beautiful, Eric. Love the almond tree poem. Thank you. I might post that on my community page later today. Brian says, very nice, Eric. Thank you. Cat and Jack says, Brian. So not everyone resonates with mantra meditation. It doesn't matter, because the end result of every prayer, the end result of every form of meditation, the end result of every devotional practice opens us up to pure silence. Again, one of my favorite thoughts is from Herman Melville. Silence in Moby Dick. Silence is the only voice of God. I love Herman Melville. He wrote Moby Dick in a sunburnt cornfield in western Massachusetts, over 500 miles away from the ocean. He wrote it in that field. In his imagination, though, he was on the ocean. He was on the high seas. He visualized and saw and literally lived the ocean in that sunburnt field. Through the power of imagination, we can do the same thing. So, again, if anyone wants to learn passage meditation, let me know. I'm happy to help with that. All you got to do, memorize the prayer, the spiritual passage that resonates with you the most. I think so many people, it's going to be that prayer of St. Francis. And it's so profound. And you can stick with that for a year. You can stick with that 4 years. You can keep returning to it. You don't need to add to it. So one more review on how to do it. Sit in a chair. Relax. Quick scan, very quick scan through the body. If you feel tension anywhere, breathe into it, relax it. Watch the breath, and then let the breath go. Pay no more attention to it. Enter that first beginning of the prayer. Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace. Whatever slow pace works for you, each word dropping within the consciousness and then rippling outwards. You will find that you'll be led into a deeper and deeper silence where the prayer itself all but disappears. That's slipping into the gap. And then you might come out of the gap. You might have a thought. It's okay. Just keep going with the prayer. However, if you become so distracted that you find yourself thinking away from the prayer, simply return to the top of the prayer. This is how we teach ourselves patience. This is how we teach ourselves kindness. This is how we teach ourselves the ability to turn the mind to that which is important, which is only and always love. We practice forgiveness by going to the top of the prayer and working our way down. You may never get to the bottom. It doesn't matter. If you do get to the bottom, start over again. Ignatius Warren recommends 30 minutes early in the morning. You can start with 15 minutes. You can start with 10 minutes. You get to the end, you can start again. But what you find, you get to the end and you might be in complete and pure silence. Simply stay there. If you move out from the silence, start the prayer over again. When your time is up, go about and live your life with that prayer resonating from the heart, touching everyone. You are teaching everyone to relearn their own loveliness, as St. Francis did with his hand upon the brow of the sow. I'm going to read that poem again later today. I absolutely love it. I could read it every day and be happy. Brian says, as you fall to winter, you come with love in your heart to bear the burden that sets us apart and heals us in unity, heals us as one. Brian, that's beautiful. That could be a lyric to a song that you could write. All right, guys, I'm going to go eat some breakfast. And then I'm going to walk, and then I got a sidewalk to shovel, and I'll do my workout. I will be back at about 1 o'clock this afternoon, my time. If anyone is around, come by and hang out with me. Thank you, Kat. Thanks for joining us so early. Tandra says, bye, Yogi. Have a nice day. Thank you, Tandra. You too. Going to have Tandra up and running. What's it going to be today, guys? I think I'm going to have the playlist of... I think we're going to have the second playlist up. There's 2 videos to this. Let's bring it up now. We're going to start with kestrel hunting. It's actually 5. So we'll begin kestrel hunting, the Mercy Tunnel, Merry Christmas, Squirrel Time, Double Trouble, Can't Go Wrong with Squirrels, and then The Calm After the Storm. If you guys have some time, if you could run a playlist or watch a video for our friend Tandra, as well as for our friend Running Boy. There's a few others that we're working with. Food from Afar, and Eric LaPointe, and our friend Joe Delaney. Those are the top 5 for now, but we're going to keep, everything's a cycle. We're going to keep helping people. Thank you, Miss Flipper. Brian says, thank you all. Thank you. Sniper, thanks for hanging out. Everyone have a safe day. I'm going to see what it's like to walk early in the morning in a foot of snow for today. It's always different. Every snow is different, you know. I'm in the mood to read some St. Francis. I might put the book aside that I'm reading now. It is Robert Holden, Happiness Now, which is it's a great book based upon principles of A Course in Miracles. Chandra, hello, love, says Brian. But man, Brian and Miss Flipper have me in a St. Francis mood. That's not a bad mood to be in, guys. So again, if anyone, for whatever reason, mantra meditation is not resonating with you, or you just simply want something more, maybe you're of a more devotional bent, and you want something that feeds that devotion. Passage meditation is a beautiful way to do it. These are the words we're going to leave you with from Saint Teresa. Saint Teresa of Avila. There's 2 Saint Teresas. Let nothing disturb you. Let nothing frighten you. All things are passing away. God never changes. Patience obtains all things. Whoever has God lacks nothing. God alone suffices. Carry that prayer in your heart today. God alone suffices. Whoever has God lacks nothing. I love prayers that I can read start to finish, and then I could go from finish to start. God alone suffices. Whoever has God lacks nothing. Patient obtains all things. God never changes. All things are passing away. Let nothing frighten you. Let nothing disturb you. Brian says, time just to say to Brian. Brian says, I'm going to read The Journey and the Dream again today. Nice. James Twyron wrote a great book on St. Francis. Was it The Master and His Disciple? I think. I'm going to read The Mystic Jesus. Marianne Williamson, I have that. I actually only have 2 chapters left. One of us says, it's still snowing here, Yogi? Wow. It stopped last night for us, but we got over a foot. If you want, guys, as mentioned, you can bring Running Boy up. Video, playlist. I'm going to bring up his big bench workout, because that will give him 3 hours and 22 minutes on his watch hours. So we have, right now we have Tandra, we have Runner Boy, and I will bring Martine up in just a little bit. Let's bring her up now. All right, I'm going to go have my breakfast. Where are we? One says, it's still snowing here. Yogi, I read that. Brian says, I'm headed to the dentist today. I'm so happy to get the tooth fix. Bless all dentists on this day. Bless all dentists on this day. Absolutely. Good luck, Brian. I'm happy that you're going to be feeling better. Forgive the horse, Runner Boy. Forgive the horse. Thank you. Runner Boy says the horse was never real. Hey, that was a very mystic quote, Runner Boy. The horse was never real. You're absolutely right. This is why forgiveness itself is an illusion, but it's a useful illusion. So, today is the day of Runner Boy, of Tandra, and Martine. Martine is less than 900 hours away as well. She has to take a somewhat forced sabbatical in June, and she's worried that she'll lose more watch hours. Brian says, Running Boy, hey buddy. Love you, have a great day, and good workout. Running Boy says, I didn't steal the $1 million because it was never real. That's true as well, but it won't hold up in a court of law, even though the court of law isn't real either. Guys, I'm going to see you all later. Take care. Much love to you all. See you guys.